Hey everybody! Today we're going to talk about three different things. We're going to talk about time signatures, flats and sharps, and key signatures. So let's start with time signatures. An example of a time signature is right here, the 2-4. Another example would be down here, the 4-4. The time signature tells us how many beats there are per measure, specifically that top number. So in 4-4, there's going to be 4 beats per measure. Or in 2-4, 2 beats per measure. One other example is the C that stands for common time, and the most common time signature is 4-4. The top number tells us how many beats per measure, and the bottom number tells us what kind of note gets the beat. And in 6th grade band, you really need to just worry about the top number. We're also going to talk about sharps and flats. The definition of sharps and flats is that it either raises or lowers a written pitch and it makes a different sound. It raises or lowers it a half a step. And if you can look with me here at the piano, and even if you're not a piano player, that's okay. This is the note G, okay? All of the white keys are just simple notes like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And just believe me when I say this is a G. And so if we want to play a G sharp, we go up a half a step. And that goes up, not a whole step to the next white note, but it goes up to the black note. And that becomes G sharp. If we want to do G flat, we're going to go down. So here's our G, and we're going to go down to the G flat. One way that you can remember that is if you see a sharp sign, or you think about the word sharp, it makes you jump up. Like if you sit on something sharp, you go up. Whereas if something is flat, it sinks down like a flat tire. So flat means down a half step. Sharp means up a half step. So back to the piano, that's what a G sounds like. A G sharp. Hopefully you can hear that it got higher. Okay, so here's the G again. And so then when we go to a G flat, it sounds lower. Okay? An example of what a flat sign would look like next to the note is right here. This is what a sharp sign looks like. Notice how the symbol is before the note. So even though we would say F sharp, it reads sharp F. It's the same thing with the flat sign. So even though our eyes see flat E, we call it E flat. The flat or sharp sign can be next to the notes, like we're talking about, but it can also be part of the key signature. Excuse me while I turn the page here. The key signature is a set of flats or sharps at the beginning of the song. Notice how we have the clef sign, in this case it's bass clef, and then the key signature, and then the time signature. So we can have the flats next to the note, or we can have the flats at the beginning, and the same rule applies for sharps. One more example I want to show you. This is a sharp, right? It's an F sharp. And you see how the book kind of tells us the answer there? It says also F sharps. The rule is with either sharps or flats that once that symbol is next to that written note, it stays that way through the measure. It's like a coupon that you can use over and over, but just for one day. You can use this symbol, in fact you must use that symbol for the same note all the way through the measure. If we had that same note again in the next measure, it would not be sharp again. It would go back to regular. The same rule applies for flat signs. Once the flat or the sharp is next to that note in the measure, it stays that way throughout.